Hey everyone, this is Rich from Rich TCG Bets. I've got a story to tell. So I'm a big Disney fan. I love everything Disney. I love Lorcana, where it's at right now. So much so that I decided to gain some courage and go to an LGS and play Lorcana this past Monday, so just a few days ago. I bought myself a starter deck. I watched some videos on how to play on YouTube and how to specifically play that deck. I played it a few times on Inktable. I did what I could to be ready so that when I showed up there, I didn't completely embarrass myself. And I called the LGS a few days before, hey, just making sure you guys are playing. They're like, yeah, we have a group of people that play. Super excited. I went to my kid's soccer game, and right after I drove straight to the LGS, only to find I was the only one there. No one else was there to play Lorcana. After 10, 15 minutes, someone else showed up. We played a game. It was pretty slow just because I had a lot of questions, and he was nice enough to walk me through what I can and can't do with Lorcana, just because you learn a lot when you're playing versus just watching things online. But overall, this experience, I was so happy to go out there and play. I'm actually really excited to play more. It was a really fun game if you haven't played. But this was a huge eye-opening experience for me because it showed that Lorcana isn't as hyped as I think it is. And yes, this is just one LGS. This is one example. But to paint a different picture, I haven't seen like really anything Lorcana on shelves in Target or Walmart in months. I see the gift boxes, the Scrooge McDucks. Other than that, I have not seen any blisters. I saw one Stitch poster collection one time a few weeks ago. But other than that, people love opening Lorcana where I'm at, but no one likes playing the game. It's kind of weird. And where I've been creating videos, watching a lot of videos, like studying Lorcana, kind of digesting a lot of it, in my mind, the whole country was exploding with Lorcana fever. Everyone was wanting to buy Fabled and to buy first chapter. We're seeing a lot more investing channels, my channel included, coming up more and more. We're seeing a lot more people podcasting and having these longer sessions of talking through Lorcana. But that was my world. That was my perception of it. And until I like stepped out and saw it in the LGS and talked to the store owners, and they said, yeah, a lot of the stores in my area are struggling to get people to come. Maybe you get 4 or 5 people to come, and that's a really successful night for Lorcana night. It kind of opened my eyes that like, okay, I need to take a step back of this hype. I can still be excited. I can still invest and put my money into it. But just know that like what we're seeing with a lot of these sales and what we're seeing with a lot of people talking about Lorcana is not painting the whole picture. And we see this a lot with Pokemon. A lot of people like loving sets or getting mad at sets, but at the end of the day, everything still sells out just because it's Pokemon. Lorcana, whether it has the the best iconics of Woody and Buzz, or whether it has a Buzz and Merida, people are still gonna like it. And it's just going to be bought, it's going to be played. But like these prices we're seeing with Fabled, booster boxes, PSA 10s, I truly think this is an outlier and doesn't depict the whole thing that's happening with Lorcana. And so let me go and dive in with a few numbers. Appreciate my story time really quick. And I also just want to caveat that like, I know I talk a lot about hype. I talk a lot about specific sets, and so I might sound a little hypocritical, but I'm fairly confident I don't hype up Fabled, and I've talked about how there's better options than that. And so if I haven't, I apologize. I just think there are better things that you can put your money to because I just don't think they're good investments, these PSA 10 cards and Fabled products. And so let's take a look at this first Fabled booster box. $391 is the market price. That's the lowest list, basically, too. And then we're in the 400 range. The last sold was 400, and if we look at most recent sales, it's like consistently 400 plus over the last week. I don't know who's buying these. I don't know why anyone would be spending $400 on a set that's 6 to 9 months old. Yes, I know it has the best iconics, some of the best enchanteds in all of Lorcana. It's probably the best overall set. But at the same time, we really do not know if it's going to be reprinted or not. So many people are saying it's not with like confidence. I don't know where that's coming from because Lorcana is a player first game over collectors or investors. And so if people want this, they're going to have it. And I know a lot of Fabled is reprints, which is why people don't think they're going to reprint it again. But like people want that Mickey and Minnie. People want these Enchanteds. And I think personally that Ravensburger is going to do some sort of reprint for these booster boxes. Is it going to totally change the market? I don't think so. But is it going to drop them maybe to $300, $250, $200? For sure. Like I truly do think so. And I know there's the whole first print, second print. I really don't buy into that just because there's nothing with the cards that are different for the most part. It's just the box says EN01 versus EN02. I know some people might like that. Me personally, I don't really care about it, but we still do see like only 21 left on the market, so quite a few. But at the same time, people are probably just holding on to it. I know I have a case not wanting to sell, but like if there is a time where they do reprint, I guarantee we see this number get closer to 100. And the crazy part is when we compare this to a set that we know is out of print, that we know will never get a booster box ever again in the first chapter, market price is $334 compared to $400 basically. So we're like $60, $70 less than Fabled, which is 6 to 9 months old, for a set that's the base set over Lorcana that is never getting a booster box reprint again. And this is only up 19% compared to 125% in the last 3 months. So a little wonky to me. And if we take a look at Wilds Unknown, like this is a set, I do love this set. I think it's going to be a great set. But we did see hype for a period of time. These were going for 170 and people were speculating maybe this gets closer to a $200 booster box by the time release. It's dropped right back down to MSRP, $145. Just kind of like in the blink of an eye. I saw a ton of people talking about this, and then all of a sudden a week went by and then no one's talking about this. But it's basically for MSRP, and it's heading towards the path of being below market at the time of release. And I have a video coming out about pull rates later this week, which might change it or sway people to want to spend a little bit more money and buy some more of these booster boxes. But quantity 203, we saw this quantity, I think it was like 20 or 30 or less. But now it's 200 plus. And this is only for pre-sale. Once it opens up on the 15th to everyone to be able to sell, we're going to see way more booster boxes, which is going to drive down the price. And so it's just another example of like everyone got really hype. Oh my gosh, Woody. And again, I want that Woody. I think this set's amazing. I want to play with these Toy Story cards in my deck. But all of a sudden it's now down to 145. And we're kind of realizing like, hey, there was hype, but this is actually where it is. And I think that's what's going to happen with these Fabled cards. So taking a look right here, nothing against Bell. Where are you, Bell? An $800 PSA 10 Bell Enchanted. Yes, I think it's a great looking card, but because it's from Fabled, like everyone is wanting this card. I thought it would show a pop report. I don't really know eBay too well, so sorry, but that doesn't seem like an $800 Enchanted. You could literally buy 2 Fabled booster boxes, which I think would be a much better purchase than a PSA 10 Enchanted, but to each their own. This Ariel, I don't want to say ugly looking Enchanted, but these darker Enchanteds from Ursula's Return, which is one of the worst sets, people will agree with that on, in all of Lorcana, going for $530, that's kind of out of nowhere and doesn't make sense to me. So a lot of these sales, $1,400 for this beautiful card, but again, you can buy a case of the first chapter, or you can buy a case of Fabled, I'm pretty sure, for that price. So like, I don't want to poo-poo on anyone's spending habits, but like, how does this make sense that investing in these Fabled cards is a good investment? If you're a collector or a big fan, like all to it, all you know, like you have all that power. I can't tell you how to spend your money or what to collect and what not to collect. But if you're in it for the investing side, which I am in a lot of the videos I talk about, it just doesn't make sense to me to want to put your money into a lot of these PSA cards from Fabled. So look at that, $409 for this Ursula's return, and then the next day $530. It going up $130 in one day. Like, if that's not wild, I don't know what is. But either way, sorry to ramble. Again, I am super high on Lorcana. I'm super high on Wilds Unknown. I just think, and I just want to put caution out there, that be careful with how you spend your money. Things can change in the blink of the eye. And if you're okay with everything getting cut in half that you've recently bought, that's fine. But if you're not and you're hesitant, maybe now is not the time to get into Fabled. So got nothing else for you. I will see you all in the next video.